Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with the man himself, George Fowler, for our match preview for the FA Cup third round tie, Middlesbrough versus Aston Villa, which is taking place Saturday, tomorrow, 5:30 kickoff. And hopefully we can win a game in the FA Cup. That would be nice. But yeah, we're going to get into all of that. Obviously, talk about the team, talk about a little bit about Middlesbrough, talk about kind of what we want to do with the season in terms of how the FA Cup looks for us and what we want to kind of do about it. And obviously, get your comments and questions in as well. We might even get a few transfers in there. Chat a few transfers. But first of all, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are at 3,150 subscribers, so motoring up the charts in terms of our subscribers, and that is down to you guys for supporting us. So every like counts, every subscription counts, so make sure you do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I've put a link in the chat as well to become a member. It won't let me pin it at the top of the chat for some reason, but if you do want to become a member, click that link or hit the join button. Just $1.99 a month, and you can support the channel that little bit more and become an official Villa Park Pod follower. Before we get into the comments, George, Happy New Year to you. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, evening, Rich. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to everyone else that's watching tonight. I'm all good, mate. Had a nice Christmas and everything. Yeah, New Year was good, mate. And here we are, mate, back in January, and we're ready to go once again.
Exactly. People in the chat, Deontay's in there. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope all is well. You too, mate. Ethan up the Villa lads. Yeah, great to have you on board, mate. Dunk in the house as well. Good evening, Dunk. Lewis, great to have you, mate. Good evening to you. Gene, good evening to you as well. Up the Villa. Rachel in the house. Great to have you in, Duncan. Let's win an FA Cup match. Exactly. Mark, good evening, mate. Thanks for jumping on as well. Rachel as well just wants us to get through to the next round. Peter's very confident. Up the Villa, we will win. Dunk saying we don't need to risk any key players, but equally we don't need to play the kids either. We'll get into that. George has put his predicted lineup in, so we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, I guess where to start really would be, I guess, that kind of FA Cup. Where it ranks with Villa, where it ranks with the fans, where it ranks with the club, and also kind of, does that record of us not winning in the FA Cup for like a third round for sort of 8 years, does that come into kind of Unai Emery's thinking?
Well, it's face it, it's a really embarrassing record, and I'm embarrassed about it. I mean, I'm quite a football traditionalist. I know like the times have moved on now, and the FA Cup's probably not what it was financially. It's not what it was. That's really the truth. But I think the owners of football clubs now have put it into the fans' head, didn't they, that it doesn't matter anymore. We can't make any money, so it shouldn't matter to you. But at the end of the day, you're only going for a certain amount of trophies a year. The game's about glory for me. The fans want trips to Wembley, memories to tell their kids and grandkids about. So I just think, the FA Cup is still alive and well, and we've got to try and do ourselves justice. Like I said a few weeks ago, I'm not saying we're going to go out and win it or anything, but we can't be going out in the third round for like the 8th year in a row. I mean, it's just shocking, Rich, isn't it, really?
It is. And obviously, last year, we lost to Stevenage in that third round tie where a few changes were made, don't get me wrong, but it should have been a team good enough to win that game. And I think Unai Emery said it was one of his kind of worst moments of last season, losing that game. So he's obviously the cup master or whatever that they want to call him. So yes, changes will be made, but I'm sure he'll want to win.
Yeah, well, he should do. He's a winner, proper cup pedigree everywhere he's been. I think last year when we drew to Stevenage, we were laughing. We're thinking, oh, finally, it's not a Man United, it's not a Man City, not away at Tottenham, away at Chelsea, and then we still go and blow it and lose to like Stevenage, who are in League Two. So I was at that stage, I was thinking, the FA Cup and us, we just don't get on anymore. But every year's a new year and another chance to have a go.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that kind of it's a competition that we will take seriously, or do you think that it's a one that won't be too fussed if we it's difficult to say like you won't be fussed if you lose again, because it's always annoying, and every situation's different, isn't it? You get into that game and I don't know, you're 2-0 up, you end up losing 3-2, you're absolutely gutted, or you don't turn up and you get beat 1-0. So every situation is different. But what I mean is like, in terms of priorities, now we find ourselves, second in the table. We find ourselves in the next round of the European competition. Does it rank in those priorities, um, at a high level as the other competitions?
Yeah, listen, obviously it's a bit different this time round with everything you've just said. These years, I've had some real meltdowns about the third round over the years when, we're sitting in the middle of the table, we're 14th or 15th, and we're still sacking it off. Steve Bruce sacking it off every year to really, really wind me up. But, we have got bigger fish to fry this year. Let's not lie about it. But at the same time, we've just had the busy fixture list, haven't we, in December? We've managed to get through that, all right. We've had a few injuries, a few suspensions. But looking at January, the fixture, it's eased up the pile up, hasn't it? There's
Mm.
not so many games now. So, what's another 4 or 5 games in the FA Cup to try and get yourself into, as I said, do yourself justice if it's the 5th round, the quarters. But just, I think you just have you don't might have to go full pelt, but you've got to have a decent go and just not embarrass yourself.
Exactly. So let's talk kind of let's talk Middlesbrough before we go into kind of Villa as well. Like, they, good club. Obviously, a fair while since we've played them. Obviously, in the Premier League certainly, but played them in the Championship. Had some good battles with them, particularly in the playoffs. I mean, have you ventured up to the Riverside in previous occasions, George?
I have actually, yeah. I'll tell you a little story about that. I went up to Middlesbrough, what was it, 2009? And we were, it was under O'Neill, and it was the last day, I think it was the penultimate day of the season. And we were just, when we were just falling away from that 4th spot when we thought we was going to get Champions League. And I think we ended up drawing the game 1-1, like a nice sunny day. I think Gareth Barry scored. And, I think it was that day we realised the Champions League dream was over, and I think Everton ended up pipping us into 6th place. But on the way out, I met Doug Ellis. Yeah, pulled out and saw
Nice.
Doug Ellis in his motor, yeah, and stopped and had a little chat with him and stuff. Yeah, he was, he was an old man then, and he was,
Yeah, yeah.
still travelling. So fair play to him. He had a nice chat with Doug, so that's a little memory I always talk about when I get the chance.
Nice, nice. Well, I've been to a few at the Riverside. Obviously, living up in the northeast, it's not too far, and I'm going tomorrow, so that'll be good. But yeah, I mean, I remember a couple of the playoff games. I remember us in around the Christmas time. I think we won 1-0 under Steve Bruce just after Christmas. I think Snodgrass scored, and then I think we won a 3-0 when Glenn Whelan managed to score a goal, and yeah, Yannick Bolasie was one of his games where he was on fire that game. But yeah, I mean, they've always been kind of quite a solid club. Obviously now Michael Carrick's there as manager. Last season they had a tilt at the playoffs, didn't quite go for them, but they had Archer and Ramsey there on loan. So Aaron Danks is there as a coach this season, and they've just signed Finn Azaz. So a decent club, and one that, fairly big club, and obviously with Premier League pedigree as well. So they're certainly not to be taken lightly.
No, for sure. Yeah, Borough, a decent club, sort of, they used to always have well, I know Steve Gibson's still there, but things in recent years, he's kind of like, he's always seemed to get it right, Gibson, didn't he? He always had the right manager, gave him a good chance. He was always famed for not like sacking his managers.
Hmm.
But I think like in recent years, the desperation to get back up there, they've gone through promotion specialists like Warnock and Wilder, and it's not really happened for them. And obviously they're well past their parachute payments now, and I think they're finding life a bit tougher. As you say there, they got Carrick in, sort of went in a different direction. He'd done a great job last year, but I don't think they're doing so well this time round.
No.
But it's tough in that when you play a championship team in the FA Cup. Normally they say, the Premier League team will sack the game off, but you look how many championship teams get knocked out early as well, because they're so desperate to try and get promoted. They normally just elbow the FA Cup like we used to do when we were down there. So
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
people are talking about Villa putting out the kids. I think Middlesbrough has every chance they might. So it's one of them. But for me, I'll say it's an important game.
Absolutely, and we all make changes. We've got a few injuries which we'll get to, but there's two things that might affect Middlesbrough. Is one, they have about 13 to 14 injuries already,
Wow.
and two, they have a semi-final in the Carabao Cup against Chelsea on Tuesday, so that could work a hell of a lot in our favour, in the fact that you say that about Championship clubs making changes, but they would have to think that they will rest their best players for that, particularly as they're at home as well to Chelsea. They'll want to get off to a good start in that game, first leg of a European of a semi-final of a competition, rather than the first proper round of an FA Cup competition.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I didn't actually realise that was coming up this week. So yeah, that's a good timing for Villa, isn't it? Yeah, semi-finals. I mean, the chances are they're not going to get by Chelsea. But then again, this isn't the Chelsea of old, is it? But you'd still fancy Chelsea strongly to win that game. But if you're in a semi-final, of course, that takes priority. But yeah, as I say, like, looking back at Middlesbrough, it's one of the grounds where we've had a really, really good record over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good record. But looking back, like I remember winning there like 4-0, 5-2, 3. We've done them 3-0 probably 3 times there. It's just always been a club we like playing against Borough.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there'll
Scored
be
some good
five.
goals against them, Rich, as well. I remember
We
that.
have, we have, we have.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's 5,000 Villa fans there as well, so that should be a good appetite for the players. But yeah, they've got Lenihan out injured. They've got Latte Lath, who's their striker. He's injured. Hackney, O'Brien, Mikel Force, who was at Brentford at one time. Crooks, who's their midfielder. He's injured. Paddy McNair's injured. Dieng's injured and Smith's injured, so that's one. This is on FOTMob. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 injuries that they've got. So yeah, I mean, you factor in that with you kind of what's happening with them at the moment as well. They're fairly inconsistent, and they've got this cup game on Tuesday. You think, I think we might strike lucky, but yeah, you never know. They'll still want to win. They'll still want to get a Premier League scalp, and get one over on Villa. A lot of these players want to prove that they can mix it with the Premier League boys, don't they? This is the ideal chance for them to show.
Yeah, exactly. You've it's a big game. It's on the BBC. It's BBC, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Yeah, you want to sort of do yourself proud, do your club proud. But yeah, you're not lying with what you said. It's definitely got to be a good time to play them, isn't it? And I think Villa have just got to do a professional job, and we should be okay. Famous last words.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll see, though. We'll see. Hopefully, the footballing gods. The probability has to be that we will win one third round tie at some point. So let's hope it's tomorrow. Now on to Villa. Interestingly, in Emery's press conference, obviously we know one or two of the players that are already injured, but I guess people were hoping that Yuri Tielemans might be back to fitness, but we hadn't seen any pictures of him in training. They usually, the media team usually like to kind of shout at from the rooftops when the players back, so we didn't see that. And then obviously the news as well that Pau Torres, after coming on last week against Burnley, has maybe had another kind of little setback, and he won't be available for tomorrow's game. So one or two still injured at the moment, George, but yeah, what are your thoughts on kind of maybe Torres not being fully fit, and obviously Yuri Tielemans still not back?
Yeah, it's not a deal. I mean, what's going on with Tielemans? Does anyone even know what the injury is? They've not said a word, have they?
No, unless it's some sort of muscle injury, hamstring, that kind of thing, calf injury. I'm not sure. Obviously, you'd know if he'd had to have an operation or something like that, but maybe it's just it's just one of those injuries that kind of needs care and attention more so than anything. But I don't know. It would do.
It's
Well,
a bit
yeah,
of a shame, Rich, because he was really starting to find his feet in a Villa shirt when he kind of finally won a place in the side and was doing well. And now to lose him for what's it been already about 2-3 weeks he's been out, hasn't it? It's
yeah,
a bit of a blow for us.
yeah.
But
Rachel said it's a calf
oh,
injury. Yeah,
okay. But as for Pau Torres, I just wonder whether, obviously the Burnley game, he was on the bench. I personally don't think Unai really wanted to use him. But we were struggling, weren't we, against Burnley? We were struggling to open them up for one, and we were getting Longley was getting torn a new one, and I think sort of Unai just thought, we need to win this game after the defeat at United, the draw with Sheffield United. I think it was kind of a needs must, and he threw Pau Torres in, and fair play, it worked because we started playing, didn't we, and ended up winning. And I think this time he's probably just thought, right, you've played a game you probably shouldn't have played. Have this weekend off, rest up, and then, we'll hopefully be fit again for the Everton game next week.
Yeah, well, he said that, and obviously Duncan's that said there we need him fit for the Prem fixtures. It does make sense, it's pointless getting a needless injury when we've got other players who need minutes and can come in. So, yeah, I mean, do you obviously we're talking about that with regards to not too many matches in January. Obviously, you've got to play it easy because you don't know if you're going to get a draw, in which case you get a replay. If you win, you obviously get the fourth round, which is at the last week, the kind of 27th, 28th of January. So there is potential for an extra game, there's a potential for an extra 2 games. But as it stands at the moment, we've only got 2 Premier League games in January. So does he go strong in this game? We haven't played since last Saturday. They've had a week's rest, had 3 days off to kind of rest and recuperate. Do you think that he does go strong, or like really strong, or does he kind of give some minutes to kind of some fringe players?
Well, you say that, Rich. I was trying to work this out before. Where are our fringe players? Who have we got? They're
Mm.
all injured, or they're all on loan. I was looking earlier. I was thinking, what do we call a fringe player these days? Is it a Zaniolo, or is it a Callum Chambers? You've got Callum Chambers there, but there ain't many, mate. You've got, Traore's gone off to the African Cup of Nations.
Well,
You've
he's
got
in, yeah.
there isn't many
He's
fringe
either
players to
injured
play.
at the AFCON or, yeah, definitely not available. I
Definitely
mean,
not playing for Villa anyway.
no, exactly. You, yeah, you've got the likes of, I guess, Eric Bonham. Yeah, you probably say your fringe players are maybe Marshall, the goalkeeper, because Olsen's out. Eric Bonham and Chambers. That's probably it, mate.
Not a lot, is it? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're probably right. Does John Duran get his get a start? I don't know. Does he? Is
I'd
he?
expect Duran to play.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's
yeah.
played. He won the penalty, didn't he, the other day? Quite a good little cameo. Watkins is the one we really can't do without, isn't he, in the Prem? So Duran's done all right. So I would expect him to start this one. Yeah.
Gary said. Gary said we should go world's strongest man strong, and that is strong. I like it. I like it.
I think it'd be strongish. Why not? I mean, like you say, there's room in January to get through the third and the fourth round, isn't there? So, I don't think we should be, trying to take the piss out of it.
No, and look, we've got a good enough side. Like you say, there's players that have played minutes across the full season that, yes, they haven't featured hugely, but they're still good enough to be part of the first team squad. And obviously we've used them, lots of players in the Conference League, so yeah, they should be more than adequate replacements or more than adequate side to play. Let's have a look at your predicted 11. So you've took a leaf out of my book and gone with the formation.
I've
I
finally got the
like that.
shape right, haven't I, after all this
Yeah, got
time?
the shape. Yeah. So Martinez, Cash, Carlos, Longley, Moreno, Kamara, Louise, Ramsey, Zaniolo, Diaby, and Duran. I like that. I mean, my only thing is Cash fully fit? He didn't mention Cash, did he, in the press conference? So
I'm a bit
I guess
confused
he's
with Cash. I've just got a feeling that he's not. He doesn't fully fancy him, but I think Konza's played so much this season. I think this is a natural game for Cash to come in, but I'm starting to wonder what Cash's role is at the moment because it's as if Unai's gone off him a little bit.
Yeah, my only couple of reservations with that side is I think maybe Chambers comes in at either right back or the right centre back position, and maybe Dendonka comes in for a Louise. But other than that,
Would you have Kamara and Dendonka though? Both kind of the same player, aren't they? I know
yeah,
one's a lot better than the other,
maybe.
but
I don't know if he plays Louise. I know Louise has played pretty much every game, but I don't know if he rests him a little bit because he has been a wee bit sloppy at some points in possession. I know he scored the goal at the end of the game the other day, which is brilliant. But yeah, That would be my only. That would be those two would be my only. I think if he's going to use Chambers in any game, it will be in this one. And yeah, I think he might. I mean, does he bring Kamara straight back in, and does he rest
I
him till
would.
next week? I would.
I would
I
bring him
definitely
in.
would.
Almost,
Yeah.
well, obviously you want him to play, but almost as a punishment to say, listen,
Yeah.
you got a stupid red card the other week. We've dropped points now. It was needless, and you get in there and now and run the game for us and get us through the FA Cup round.
I love that front four. I mean, maybe Kamara and Dendonka kind of just sit, and then you leave that front four, and then Moreno can bomb on as well, and you kind of go from there. I mean, how do you envisage the game going? Like, do you think it's kind of going to be Middlesbrough try and sit back and hit us on the break, Villa have a lot of possession, or do you think Middlesbrough will come at us and give it a real go?
I don't really know, Rich, because I haven't really seen anything in Middlesbrough. I'll never come on here and
Mm.
try and give you any bullshit.
No, no, no. It just in
But
terms of like a championship team coming up against a Premier League team, do they, and obviously one that's second in the table. Do you think that they kind of try and just let us have the ball, or do you think they will be like, do you know what, we're going to try and stick it on them?
could be either or, couldn't it? I mean, under the lights on the TV, maybe they just think, just go for it for half an hour, see if we can sort of get in behind and get the crowd up and everything, and maybe nick a goal, like get ourselves in front and then defend. But then again, or you could try and sit back and try and contain, but then, maybe if they're still in the game 70, 80 minutes, then try and throw everything at us. But, mate, I don't really know, to be honest, Richie. You could be looking at either or there.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Um, yeah, there's so many variables because do Villa go like you said? They will play a strong side regardless. Like it is a strong side. We've got a strong squad, and that's what Emery likes. But do Middlesbrough kind of really make changes on the back of their injuries and the back of the semi final on Tuesday night and just play like a load of reserves? It's going to be such an interesting game because, and then also they won't want to get absolutely hammered because that'll
Yeah, going
just
into the semi,
kill them.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
between a
know.
rock and a hard place, aren't they, really?
Yeah,
I'm not sure they can win either way, unless they win
yeah,
both games, of course.
yeah. Exactly. But yeah, let's let get in the chat, guys, for your score predictions. We'll talk a few transfers. I don't think there's a huge amount else to kind of discuss on this game. It's going to be. I think it's a good opportunity for us to get into the next round, and then you kind of take it from there. Like I say, end of January, if you can get a good draw, you win that one, and then you're in the fifth round. And then you kind of can start seeing, do we take this serious? Because I said this on the fans forum special with Jack the other night. I was like, well, we talk about kind of all these games and stuff, but we don't really have like a huge amount of fixtures until with regards to Conference League coming back into it until March, and you're probably at the quarterfinal stage by then. So we might as well go for it. It's only going to add to confidence with the squad if we keep winning games anyway.
Exactly. I mean, what's 3, 4 more games in the whole sort of, gist of things? It's not going to kill them, is it? I don't think it's worth just saying, "Oh, get rid of the cup. We don't need it this season." I just think, like as I keep saying, just get where you should get to. If you
Yeah.
run into a Man City in round 5 and get smashed, so be it. But you've not gone and thrown it in against the team that you should beat.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Guys, we've got nearly 50 watching, which is great stuff on a Friday night. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We are on the road to 4K. We're at 3,150 at last count, which is just absolutely brilliant. So thank you all for your support. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you want to become a member, hit the join button or hit the dollar sign at the bottom of the chat, and you can become an official Villa Park Pod follower. So let's have a look at some of our predictions. So Deontay is saying Middlesbrough 1, Aston Villa 3. Alex Moreno, I hope he might be playing tomorrow. No, it's not that, Alex.
Big game for Moreno tomorrow, I think, if he
It
starts,
is.
because he's not really sort of hit heights yet, has he, since he's come back from injury?
No, I thought he got into the game a bit more last week. I thought Ramsey got into the game a bit more last week as it went on. So that'll be good to see him, maybe building up his confidence. And obviously, Diaby getting a goal was good. And your starting team there, you're obviously going to have some of the big guns on the bench as well, aren't you? You're going to have the likes of Watkins or
Yeah.
Bailey, and I
The
mean, we're
insurance
calling
policies, aren't they?
Bailey a big gun now, but yeah, you got Bailey, Watkins, you'll have McGinn. You'll have a couple of the big players to come on, so
For
that'll
me,
be good.
McGinn's the one who needs the rest to have anyone in the team because
Yes,
they just roll him out every week, don't they? And
yeah,
he works
yeah.
hard, mate. I think he's the one who needs a little week off.
I wonder if Eric Bonham will play instead of.
I think they're lining him up for a sale or a move. I think he'll be gone the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I do, but like yeah, I suppose if if he's going to go to a championship club though, it's a good opportunity to play him tomorrow to kind of put him in the shop window. So
Yeah,
that'll be
maybe.
interesting to see whether he plays. Um, but yeah, I did like that front four. Yeah, it's whether he I would play Kamara, I would, but whether he does or not, and whether he keeps him on the bench, because then you might you might play an Bonham and Dendonka, and then you've got Kamara, Louise, Watkins on the bench. Like that would be, if things don't quite go well, you
Do you
get
know what I
them
always
on.
find though, Rich? Every time we play a a second string side, we lose.
Yeah, yeah,
When do they ever beat anyone? That's always my
yeah,
worry.
yeah.
Any
Agreed.
Olsen's not there, is he? But every time Olsen plays, you can kind of almost say the game's gone, and that's not
Mm.
trying to be too horrible to him. It just shows you the drop off between our top players and the ones that are not.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, mate. Yes, Alex Moreno says 2-0 Villa. Borough will put all their eggs in the Chelsea basket. I think that's kind of the consensus from us here. 4-1 Villa for Duncan. 3-0 Villa for Peter Collins, Ramsey, and a Zaniolo
Yeah, I like
brace.
that one.
That'd be good. Um, Ethan says 2-0 Villa and Musa first goal. That'd be good as well. What else have we got? Any more predictions? No, people are talking transfers, so we will get into transfers in a second. George, what are your thoughts on tomorrow then? Result and scorers.
Yeah, I like what your man just put there. I think Borough, they'll try and keep us at bay for as long as they can. But I think, yeah, looking at a goal maybe around 60 minutes, and I think once we get one, it'll open up, and I can see us getting another couple. So I'm going to copy your man there and go for a 3-0 Villa win. I also fancy Zaniolo because he's on a bit of a rich vein of scoring, and he got 2 in his last 3 or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to nick exactly what you said, actually. Zaniolo and Ramsey.
Are you sure it's not you in the chat?
Yeah.
Adamski says 2-1 Villa. I think I'm gonna agree with Dunk. I'm gonna say 4-1 Villa. I think we'll get to maybe 3-0. I think Zaniolo again. Yeah, I think Zaniolo will score. I think Ramsey will get a goal. Maybe Diaby as well, and then I think he brings a couple of players on. I think maybe Watkins gets one at the end to kind of finish it up.
I kind of
Yeah,
think, Rich, like, when it's FA Cup round 3 day, it's that sort of traditional weekend, isn't it? Like, we're second in the Premier League, and it's almost like a chance to show the country that we're not just some afterthought. We're going to play like the team that's second in the league. Everyone watch Villa, on Friday, half-5 Saturday, go and do a job. Look like a good side.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. It's a really good opportunity to get results. There's been a fair few all Premier League ties this week. This weekend, obviously, Palace and Everton has gone to a replay. Spurs Burnley's on tonight. Brentford Wolves is tonight as well. Arsenal Liverpool.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a number of Premier League clubs that are going to go out at this stage, and there will be a couple of kind of shocks, as if you want to call it, and let's just hope we're not the end of it. But what I mean is, if you win that game, you could be looking at 6, 7, 8 Premier League teams out of the competition already, and then all of a sudden you get another Championship or League One team in the fourth round. And you're kind of looking, right, if we win this, we could be in with a shout here. So,
Yeah, of course it is. It was the same
let's
as the
go
League
for
Cup,
it.
Rich, wasn't it? It was exactly the
Yeah.
same there. That's why we was also disappointed to lose so early on to Everton, because the draw, I mean, I know they got knocked out in the end, but their run up until what would have been now the semis wasn't bad. So if we could have won that game, again, there was a load of all Premier League clashes, things could have opened up, but it wasn't to be on that occasion.
Yeah,
But I'll
yeah.
tell you what, Rich, from a traditionalist point of view, they've got to start seeding the FA Cup because it's the third round draw is just really shit all of a sudden. In the last few years, just constant Premier League matches. Anytime there's a good match, I mean, our ones are one of the rare ones where you get a Championship club at home against a high flying Premier League team.
Sunderland, Newcastle's not
Oh,
bad.
sorry, I forgot about that one. But
But
you
yeah,
used to
no,
get loads,
I
didn't you?
agree. Yeah. I mean, it's one of them things. Like I agree with you. I just think that if it's an all Premier League club, like um, like an Arsenal, Liverpool, we see that every week. Well, not every week, but we see that on TV every season
Yeah,
in the Premier League. We want to see, like the football fan wants to see the Middlesbrough v Villa, the Sunderland v Newcastle,
that's what I'm
the
saying.
Championship team against the Premier League, the League One team at home against the Premier League team. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see another all Premier League tie in the FA Cup that is going to probably be two second string sides playing against each other
100%.
when we already watch it on Sky when the proper first teams are playing. So I don't know necessarily if it's a seeded thing that needs to happen. I just think they need to go back and put the proper cup ties on the TV that way someone is likely to see a shock result or
But
there's
you
a
always
chance
get it.
of
It's
seeing a
always
shock
Man
result.
United. I know Man United are away this year, but I think they had 16 years on the bounce of being drawn at
Yeah,
home. It's
yeah,
always Man City at home, Chelsea at home, Arsenal at home. Them
yeah.
shocks aren't going to happen when the big sides at home. That's why I think it
No,
should be arranged differently.
I agree with you. And they also that, yeah, they also know that it's basically picked because they know that a bigger audience will watch that game. So they know Man United or Liverpool have got the most fans, blah 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 blah. So that's the real reason. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. But yeah, we're obviously on BBC One, which is good, and it's good to see that they're obviously going there because they know there might be a chance of a potential upset. But yeah, I do think that the stars probably align a little bit more into Villa's favour with the fact that Middlesbrough have got this Carabao Cup semi-final and their injuries, and obviously, as you pointed out, they're not in the best of form at the moment. They're a little bit inconsistent in the league. So yeah, that's going to be. I think we get the win. I really do. Um, last sort of 10-15 minutes, let's just talk January window. I've done a few transfer talk kind of roundup, so if you do have a chance, guys, do watch that. They've been getting some great views. I think I had 4,000 views on the one the other day, and I think I've had about 1,500 on the one that I've done today. So really thank you, really appreciate the support on those little videos. But I just think it's quite good fun to see us getting linked with all these names, and I'm sure 99% of them won't happen. But George, your take on this January window, where do you think we need to strengthen? Where would you like to see us? Would you like to see us move in the window?
Well, January's it's a notoriously tough month, isn't it, to get any sort of decent quality. Really, I mean, no one really wants to be selling their top players, do they, in the January window? So it's normally a window for teams that are fighting relegation, isn't it? But if you're asking me what we actually need, I've been looking at a Robin Olsen replacement for the last 2 years, but Emery doesn't seem too fussed on that front. But I'd be looking at a backup keeper myself in case we lose Martinez at any point. I think the obvious one is a right back as well. As I said earlier, Matty Cash seems to be a little bit out of favour. I don't love Konza in the right back position. It does a job, but it's not ideal. I'd be looking, so for another right back. And the magic one, everyone needs a number 9, don't they? But where the hell do you get one of them from, Rich, at the minute?
I know. I was actually. It's funny because I was watching, obviously, the class of '92 Salford documentary or
Yeah, yeah.
something that they do. And then this is the latest one, and they were talking about kind of January window. The club scout was out looking, and they said we're after a striker. Every club in League One. He said that 16 clubs in League One are looking for a striker, and 16 clubs in League Two are looking for a striker. So we're basically going up against 32 clubs that are all looking for this magic striker that no one's going to be able to find, and it's almost the same. Doesn't matter what level of leagues that you go, everybody's looking for a striker. So yeah, it's going to be really difficult for that. This Ngongi, this guy from Verona, obviously the word was that we'd agreed this fee for him, and now it's kind of gone quiet the last couple of days. don't know. You read into that what you will. Obviously Roberto Firmino's on a free. Is he an option? But you're talking
Yeah,
huge
what's his
wages.
wages these days, man?
Yeah. I mean,
Probably
you've
about
got
£3 million a week.
exactly. I think a Chelsea is more likely for him, someone like that, because I don't think we would get anywhere near his wages. Don't sit there in the chat saying De Gea, but we just would not be able to
No
get
chance.
anywhere near his wages. I mean, Newcastle can't get near his wages. It's ridiculous.
It's sad though, Rich,
Um,
isn't it, that someone like that has just had like half a season without a club, like
yeah,
David De Gea. It's crazy.
I know, and he was like one of the players of the season last season, and
Yeah,
they get it's possibly one of the drawbacks of being paid such high wages,
he must have had offers,
and
mustn't he?
I guess so. I mean, you're talking probably from like the Saudi league or something like that, but he's too good for that. But like all these clubs now have to kind of cut their cloth accordingly, and he's only going to want to go to a club that he's going to be the first choice keeper at. So you're talking like there's only limited amount of clubs that can one afford his wages, and B, those type of clubs will probably have a number one goalkeeper already. So what's he going to do? Like it becomes difficult. But then you think, well, could he, if he dropped his wages by 40-50%, is he going to be suffering? And then is he going to be playing? Well, yeah, I suppose so. So which one does he prefer?
Obviously, just talking about a striker there, one's just come to my mind here. This is probably going to sound a bit silly, but since Ings has gone to West Ham, he's not had a look in, has he? He's not playing at all. They've gone with the obviously got Antonio, they've got the lad Kudos now, they've tried Bowen up front. So to me, he's out in the cold completely. Now, I mean, I know he was earning super money at Villa, but I think the penny must have dropped with Ings now that he's not the player he was, and he can't lead the line on his own. But could you nick Danny Ings back on a loan till the end of the season? Because obviously we've got Watkins, you've got Duran, which is the kind of like for like. What we're missing is 70-minute, 80 minutes where we're trying to get a goal and we just, we need a poacher basically. Could you get a Danny Ings back? I mean, he was doing pretty well up until he went, wasn't he? He was on 7 goals and he wasn't doing too bad. And I think the opportunity just come to get red, but I don't know. It's just a name we could put out there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that ship has sailed a little bit. He's on. As far as I'm aware, like from a couple of the West Ham fans, I think he's on big wages there.
If that was just a loan, though, you could like organise it.
Yeah, yeah,
They could
yeah.
pay
You could get them
50%
to
or
pay a
something.
portion of it. Yeah, I don't know. And again, from seeing him when he's come on, he looks absolutely shot to pieces. Like his legs are gone and whatever. But that could be just
They're trying to
that could
play him
just
as
be
as
sharpness.
a lone striker, though. He's never been
Yeah,
that.
like, or even cutting in off the left. They've sometimes played him, and yeah, I know, it's one of them where he's coming on and getting scraps. So I do take your point. It's a difficult one, but
Probably
I mean,
unlikely, but
yeah, I mean, people. I mean, don't saying people. Someone said Huang from Wolves. The Wolves are no way, no, like Pete. Wolves are not going to get rid of Huang
you're not getting either of them in a
in
million years.
January, and Bournemouth are definitely not getting rid of Solanke in January. Like you're literally getting someone who you've been negotiating with since the summer, and you've agreed to get them in January, or you're getting someone that a club doesn't want, because they can't get in the side, or you're getting like an untested young player from abroad. That's basically what you're getting in January. You're not getting anyone who is key to a team's either survival or a team's or a team's kind of Champions League or European push. It just
It's a
you know
cesspit window, isn't it? That's
yeah,
the thing,
yeah.
mate.
We wouldn't sell any of our players, so why would anyone sell any of their best players? Like we just wouldn't do it. Like so it's all. I know I do. Like I say, I do the transfer talk shows, but I guess the likes of when Arsenal put out a Louise story, it doesn't do Douglas Louise any harm that that his name's getting touted about because like he's obviously it's gonna increase his bargaining power at Villa. So yeah, that's how it works, isn't it? That's just it's always like an agent will put a story out there, or the opposing football team. Arsenal might put a story out there about Louise just to see if Villa would take the bait. There's so many things. A
How
few
much would
people
you
mentioned.
take for Louise, Rich, if it was down to you and a big offer come in? What would be your point to say I'd let him go?
Uh, To what is? I mean, are you talking January or are you talking like end
Yeah,
of season?
just say
If
Arsenal
they
did come
wanted
in.
him now, you're talking 100 million plus because he's worth way too much for us. Way too much for us. It's the same. It's the same for Watkins. It's the same for any of those key players. For Martinez, you're talking what 60, 70 million. Like for where we are in the league now, and for what we've got, it's and what chance we've got to push on. You're talking huge money for any of those players that are key to our side. And yeah, I think I don't really see. Obviously we've let Finn Azaz go for 2 million, which is I think we got him for a free off West Brom, so that's kind of a nice bit of profit there. That might pave the way for this guy to come in, this Ngongi to come in based on the way that you can structure the payments. Because I think we're okay with FFP, but I think we're still a bit tight
Yeah, I don't mean
with
I don't think it's
FFP.
amazing.
No, so I don't think there'll be the ability to make a massive signing. Now, the word is that we are really interested in this Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen, right wing back. Obviously played with Bailey and played with Diaby, got a good relationship with them, seems an excellent player. Apparently has a 35 million release clause. I don't know if that's now or whether that comes into play at the end of the season. If it is now, do Villa kind of take the risk and try and like test the water now and work on a structured payment? But he seems to be the player that we're being linked with as well. So that'll be an interesting one to see if we can get someone like him over the line. But other than that, I don't see anyone else. Maybe a forward on loan, but again, who you getting?
It's tough. No one wants to sell their top players. So unless you're trying to unearth like another Duran, someone that no one's ever heard of, young foreigner that that is something you've seen a bit of promise in. I really don't know. But what about
Mm.
this? What about this talk about Luca Dean? Is it absolutely is it bullshit or not? We've seen it on
Well,
Twitter this week, haven't we?
yeah, I was just about to kind of come in onto that with regards to outgoings. Yeah, the two things with Villa is like you can let go of some of the fringe players. He's already said that the likes of them Dendonka, Traore has obviously gone to the Cup of Nations now, so probably won't be sold. Bonham, like you say, is probably going to either get a transfer or go on loan somewhere with a view to a transfer. So there's going to be a few players that will go or potentially aim to go, if whether there's any takers. But then the other option is to sell like a Luca Dean or someone who's not, or a Matty Cash even, like someone who's a decent earner who's going to fetch a bit of money. I personally wouldn't want Dina to go. I think he's been fantastic this season. But if you're talking about balancing the books in terms of wages, in terms of FFP,
He's the obvious one, isn't
he
he?
might be one to kind of move on, and at 31, 32, or however old he is, he could be the one. But I don't know if it's a true rumor or if it's just someone rehashing the
Yeah,
rumor from the summer. I don't know.
yeah. Because obviously we were linked with the Argentinian fella Acuna, wasn't we, as well? I
That's
think.
still alive. That's still a live link. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so time will
Um,
tell, mate.
yeah, exactly. A few people saying Dunk says he hopes Dina stays. Adamski says Dendonka won't leave until the summer. Um, Chambers might go, says Duncan. Jason says keep Dina. Um, Rachel said, I meant Frimpong, but there has been rumours. How credible, I don't know, that Dougie has a release clause. Okay, so it could be. Rachel also says Dini's value is at its peak now and his high wages, so good business-wise. Footballing-wise, I don't want him to go.
Yeah,
And Duncan says Acuna is a top player. So, yeah, I mean, there's a long time to go. We're talking the 5th of January, and many times deals are done towards the end of the window. Once they get a couple of games out of the way, you kind of think if we get a good result against Everton, and then we go into that kind of little break, that's when you kind of see, right, okay, where are we? Where can we take stock? We can do some kind of negotiation with clubs in that time. At the moment, he's probably just focusing a lot on the games and kind of getting the ducks in a row for who they might want to sign. We've seen a couple of young players go out on loan. Obviously, Ben Crizine went out to Blackburn today in the Championship. Obviously, Lamar Bogar has been recalled from Bristol Rovers. Sorry, he's wanted by quite a few clubs in the Championship. I think Sunderland, um, one or two, like about 3 or 4 clubs in the Championship want him, and also Aberdeen in the Scottish Premier League want him as well. So that's quite promising. Kane Kessler-Hayes is on loan. Kerr Smith signed the first pro contract, gone to St Johnstone in, I think they're in the Scottish Prem. So that, I mean, that's again, that's seeing those players. You know, we kind of thought that the kind of, I guess, the academy production line was sort of drying up, but that's not bad. You know, if 3 or 4 of those players can do well in Championship clubs, whether they come into the first team and compete or whether we can get 4 or 5 million for each of them, it's valuable money, isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah, it's promising, mate, and it just shows that the investment we put in a couple of years ago in the academy is coming to fruition, and we are starting to see a few. You know, the romantic in all of us would love to see a couple try and get closer to the first team, but in reality, it doesn't seem to be happening, and especially under Unai. Unai doesn't seem to really fancy the kids too much. But you know, the next best thing is you loan them out, you get a few quid for them when they move. So yeah, you know, it's all good, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it. I think Tottenham have scored, but yeah, it's one of them where yes, I think we might see maybe a couple of phases of Emery's reign if he is to be here for a long time. Is that at the moment I think he's focused on players who can make an impact in the first team. You know, he will still sign young players, but they need to potentially make an impact for the first team. Um, because he wants to win something. He wants to get European, real European football, as in Europa League or even better Champions League football. Then I think we might move into a next phase where we do start to maybe kind of again focus on bringing some young players in to kind of push through that academy side of things. Rory Wilson still very much a highly rated striker in the under 18s, and it would be interesting to see if he goes anywhere this window or if he waits till the summer. But yeah, there's still a few young players there. But yeah, I think there might be a couple of different phases with regards
I mean,
to
to be fair,
Emery's
we
reign.
forget Emery's only been there a year. We haven't really seen
Yeah,
what his plan is, do we? We
yeah,
just assume it. You know
exactly.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. But it's certainly a business model to be used. You have to kind of use your academy as that kind of production line to, you know, we know that it's very, very rare that academy players make it. It's just a case of, if you can get one every couple of seasons, that's decent. And then all the rest, if you can get 2, 3, 4, 5 million for them, even better. And then if you can get more, like the Chelseas of this world, then and the Man Cities of this world, then that's absolutely spot on. So yeah, but it's good to see them getting loans in the championship, because obviously the higher the level they are, the better. Um, this other one, the kind of last couple of things. This Cameron Archer kind of buyback thing's a bit of a. I don't know if that's true. I saw a couple of Sheffield United fans saying on Twitter that we have to buy him back if they get relegated. Um, if they stay up or whatever, we get first option on him. Like we can sign him back, we get first option. But if they get relegated, we have to buy him back. But for less than obviously what they paid for him.
Yeah, I must admit, I did hear that very soon after the deal was done. I mean, yeah, I don't know for sure whether that's true. I just wonder, is that a case of them paying Archer a decent Premier League salary and them looking after themselves, basically saying, look, if we go down, we can't afford that salary, so you go straight back to Villa, and and everyone's a winner. You get to go back in the Premier League. We get to, we don't have to keep someone on super money when we can't afford it. So I don't know. It's an odd thing. I've never heard it before in any other deal, but yeah, we'll wait and see. Because I'd say they're pretty much nailed on to go. So he might be back with us in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I know they're playing with a bit of spirit and fight, but yeah, I can't
Not enough
see them.
quality there.
Yeah, not enough. I know they've signed Ben Brereton Diaz on loan, so that'll see what happens there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens in the summer, like you say.
Yeah, that Burrington
Um,
Diaz didn't do very well out in Villarreal, did he?
he didn't. No, he didn't. Obviously, he's come back to Sheffield United, and I think they've got him on loan with a view to kind of making it permanent. So I think even if they're getting they're going down into the Championship, I think they probably do still sign him.
Yeah, Championship player.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. It'd be like I say, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Archer. And he's looked okay in flashes. He obviously scored against us, which was bound to
Don't get
happen.
many chances though, do they? So he's
No, he
feeding on
doesn't.
scraps.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a shame for
It's
him.
always going
It's
to
a
be the
shame.
way.
Good experience though. Sometimes it's good for him to go through that hardship in the Premier League. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that does us for tonight, George. Thank you very much, mate. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I did want to mention, shout out Peter, who said it's unrelated to the topic, but he's got his flight booked and he's going to see Spurs at Villa Park on March the 10th. His first ever trip to England, so he's super excited. Well, mate, that's amazing. So if any of us are at the game, which I'm sure we will be, or some of us will be, make sure you let us know on when you're coming over, and we'll get a drink with you and come and say hello. And that's a brilliant experience. And where are are you traveling from? The States? Where are you traveling from? That's really good, mate. So just let us know in the chat. But yeah, fantastic. Hope you enjoy it. Hopefully we get the win and
Bring
do the
us some
double
nice
over
weather over
Spurs
with you,
again.
wherever you've come from.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm sick of
yeah.
this
That'd be
rain,
great.
mate.
Yeah. Well, we got March. It's in March, mate. So hopefully
Uh,
the weather will be all right by then. Um, but yeah, George, thank you very much, mate. Hopefully we get the result tomorrow. We're doing that. I'm doing my instant match reaction after a victory, which will be brilliant. Eyes from coming from Canada, British Columbia. Fantastic, mate. Enjoy, enjoy. I hope you have a safe trip over, and it's an amazing trip and we get the win. But yeah, hopefully we get the win tomorrow as well, get through to the fourth round to get our names in the hat. It will be nice. It'll be a strange feeling to watch the draw on whether it's on Sunday or Monday, and the Villa actually be in it, which will be really interesting. Um, so yeah, that'll be great. Thank you everyone in the chat for watching. As I say, keep your eyes peeled on the channel. We'll be doing instant match reaction, hopefully a full match reaction, definitely fans forum, definitely talking tactics, loads to come. Hit the like button if you haven't already on your way out. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And thank you for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.